Yo, yo, yo. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Take This, the premiere new sort of sports sort of podcast, and it is all very, very exciting. GRIFF, we got a new software that we are using today. Are you excited?
Yep.
How excited are you?
I am excited. I think, this gives us the chance for live streaming opportunities in the future, and no, it's very cool. Kind of get to do some live recording, live on the spot production. So it's kind of cool, and we also can't fix as much in post, but you know what? We improvise, we adapt, we overcome. Very much unlike Urban Meyer. So
yeah, right. Oh my goodness, that is a wild story. Like absolutely insane.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
But GRIFF, how the heck are you? You haven't been on in a bit.
I know. I was off last week because my day job required me to not be working during the day and in fact be working at night doing some third shift work, and it happened to fall on a Wednesday.
Amazing.
It was just one night, but shit happens. Engineers gotta engineer, so not a big deal. And then I couldn't do the interview you did with Evan last week, so no, I've been itching to get back on the microphone and talk some more sports.
It actually kind of worked out because Evan was great. We talked a little bit about the college football stuff that I really wanted to get into, with the Kenneth Walker stuff not being a Heisman candidate. Obviously, I was a little heated, but it's he did win the weird thing for me was with all of that.
He won every other award.
Well, and he won the Walter Camp Award, which is essentially the Heisman just voted on by different people.
Different people. Yep.
Right, and it was just so it was so weird that I did not actually anticipate him to win the Walter Camp. I thought that Bryce Young would have won it, if anything. Just it's the same reason why I didn't think that Kenneth Walker should have won the Heisman. Bryce Young being there,
right?
But
he was that dude.
And what's surprising to me about the Heisman stuff really was that Aiden Hutchinson finished second in Heisman voting. I did not anticipate that at all, especially since he's a defensive player. Did not think that he was, even if he's a good defensive player, I did not think that he was above and beyond the the rest or whatever. And so anyway, GRIFF. So I have on here real quick to get into the show. I have on here, I want to talk about a little bit about my and this is sort of stupid, but so I've been covering Michigan State hockey.
Yeah, please,
as
please
you know.
Don't fall asleep while listening.
Don't fall asleep. Listen. I want to ask you a question. So you have not do you have ESPN Plus?
I do. I got it for free when I got my iPhone.
Do you use it?
No, when I got my new Verizon plan,
okay,
it was a year of Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, and I've been using it. I use it to watch the Red Wing games when they're not on Bally Sports locally here. And other miscellaneous hockey games.
So then, so you're aware though of how much shit you can get with ESPN Plus, right?
There's a bunch of shit. A lot of college basketball, women's college basketball, a lot of just college sports in general.
And it's not a bad product, right? It's not bad, right? No. So I started getting Big Ten Plus, okay, which is the Big Ten Network streaming service, and there's been a few basketball games on Big Ten Plus. There's been a few, and they're not incredible. You know what's funny though? They are do you remember having in high school you had the public access network would broadcast post recordings of like football. Like they'd be like pre-recorded like football games. Like they'd shoot the football game and then they'd like edit them in their studio and then they'd put them out like the next day or whatever, so parents can have like stuff like that, right? It is like Big Ten Plus is a step above a public access network pre-recording a sports game and putting it on TV. And I have to get this out of my chest. I had to get this out of my chest because you know how we always complain, and I want to get into Notre Dame real quick. You know how I always complain about Notre Dame and how they're not in like a real conference? You know, and
well, the football's not in the conference, or hockey and basketball, or was it hockey is in Big Ten? And
because the ACC does not have a conference in hockey. So, and the Big Ten didn't actually have a conference until 2013 in hockey. I mean, because it used to be Michigan State and Michigan used to be part of the CCHA. And then they've disbanded, and the Big Ten overlapped that, and Notre Dame became a part of that as well. So Michigan State actually played Notre Dame in hockey, and if you follow college hockey at all, you know that like none of it is good. Like it's not good content. Like it's not. By that I mean like it's not produced well. Like nobody spends. Like the Big Ten Network is not spending money to broadcast college hockey, right?
Right.
So anyway, so Notre Dame has this contract with NBC, especially if they're on home game. So these hockey games, Michigan State's out here on NBCSN, which is crazy because I'm like, hell yeah, some actual like nice stats on the screen. Like this is like it's no different from watching the Red Wings. Like they make it exciting. These are professional broadcasters, the same guys that broadcast Notre Dame football and basketball, and I'm out here like hell yeah. Anyway, so it reminds me though of how much like Big Ten Plus is $9.99 a month, and I will be damned if it is worth that price. So I just had to get that off my chest. Make sure everyone wants to, because the issue with Big Ten Plus for so long was that they broadcast like these basketball games that people want to watch, and like if Michigan State is out here on a November Saturday playing Penn State or Ohio State or whoever they're playing on Saturday, and Michigan State's got a basketball game at the same time, like they're not gonna put the basketball game on Big Ten Network. They're gonna put no, and ideally they would have another network like Big Ten 2, on cable or something. Yeah. But I'm like so like over that whole thing that I wanted to tell you about it. So I'm sorry if I put people to sleep. Listen, I'm sorry that I wanted to dedicate time to the Big Ten Network.
I think the Big Ten.
It's hard when you're covering a sport and
and it's not. And it's a bad service. Right. And I think the Big Ten as a whole has done as a conference has done a really awful job of being just that, a conference. So I understand what you're saying, and it's definitely an issue.
I'm sure,
especially for people like you who cover the team. Like that's your. It's
I mean, I do like I know like a lot of people will have like the subscription comped, but like my thing is I can watch a Michigan State football game from like 2006, but do I want to? I can get that shit for free on YouTube. Like you're not offering me a service that's any different from like YouTube. Right. So Griff, you want to power rank our top? We got Christmas coming up. You want to power rank our top 5 Christmas movies?
Yeah, it's the Christmas season. I got my tree behind me right over here.
We have ours
my mini one. We have a bigger tree, obviously, in the living room. But yeah. So I say let's do it. I have some interesting takes about Christmas movies. I take Christmas very seriously.
So do I. So do I. I'm out here in November we got our Christmas tree November 1st. Like we were just all for it.
No. We put ours up like the week before Thanksgiving, mainly because we had the energy to, and we were like, "Fuck it, put it up now while we have the energy," and then slowly put up the rest throughout the week and over the Thanksgiving break that we had from work and school. So yeah, it's So what is? I have mine in bottom to top order.
I was gonna say Home Alone 2 at number 1. That's bold.
So I'm gonna honorable mention 3.
Okay.
Because these movies, I wanted to call them out and talk about them a little. You have one of them, but I wanted to talk about the other 2. So one of them is Die Hard. It's a Christmas movie, but I'm not gonna put it in the top 5. I do view it as a Christmas movie. I watch it around Christmas every year, but it's not like the theme of Christmas, right? It just happens to happen during the Christmas season. So it's on there. I watch it every Christmas. I do view it as a Christmas movie, but it's not like the best or in my top 5. I also have It's a Wonderful Life. I think this movie is not that good, if I'm being honest. But the reason I have it as an honorable mention is it's always been a thing my parents they watch it every Christmas Eve, cry like babies, and it's something I've learned to appreciate because of that. But I just don't think it's that great of a movie. And then I also have The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. The first one was okay. The second one and third one were very weird. So I just wanted to call those out. But to start off with my number 5, it is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the claymation. Old school, short to the sweet, very good story. And I was very endeared to it as a kid. Do you want me to just go through?
Oh, sure. Here. Actually, what was? Go say it again. Say it again. I want to do something. Number 5. Okay. What is it?
So yeah, I got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the claymation.
I gave you an applause.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, it's hardly like it's not really a movie. It's really short, right? They're only like 40, like 50, 60 minutes. It's a short like claymation, but I watched it all the time as a kid. I think it's a lot of things that young like people our age we watched a lot as a kid, and that memory has kind of been implanted in us of this movie. So it gets my number 5 slot for that reason.
So you know what's funny though too, and I'm gonna get into my number 1, but How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You know the original one, the
2D?
like the do you know there was a TV
Cartoon.
special? I used to be like 8, and I used to think that was like a full feature movie that they play during Christmas, but because of the commercial break when he's falling over the edge of the of the cliff with his dog, and you remember that scene or whatever, and then it cuts out to commercial, and then it comes back, and that's like ingrained into your memory. There's only one commercial break because it's only two commercial breaks or whatever, 2 sets long. Like it doesn't need another commercial break because it's not long enough to have one.
No, it's not.
And so I just think that's funny because I used to think that there were like, this was like a full movie. No, it's just, it's literally just 30 minutes. Not even actually. I think it's like 26.
Yeah, it's
I never knew that for some reason.
I think a lot of those are like those the reindeer claymations, Saint Nick claymation, which had the Heatmeister and the Snow Miser. They were all super short, and when I was a kid, I felt like they were longer. But yeah, Rudolph's my number 5. It was just a classic. I don't think you can argue with it. So
my number 5 is Home Alone 2. I loved it as a kid. Home Alone 2. Well, I would put it, I think, and I don't know, like if because you obviously have Home Alone 2 at the top. Sorry for spoiling it.
And I have my reasons. No, I have my reasons.
But so like I like the original Home Alone more than I like Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Home Alone 3 can kick rocks. I've never seen it, and I don't want to see it because the cover.
I think they made like a 4th and a 5th one too.
Did they really? No, they didn't.
I know they made a 4th one. It was like a kid in a rich ass house, and he did a bunch of shit with his rich ass contraptions.
I just love Home Alone 2. I used to watch it with my grandma when I was little, and it was like always
Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House.
Oh my God, come on!
They didn't have Macaulay Culkin after.
No, like after 2, they never had him. Like I think it was like 2 was the last one.
Only in the first 2. Yep.
And so who's your number 4? Who do you got?
I got How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey one.
Okay, perfect.
It's another it's bad, right? It is so far from the source material, which is what this was this was like the first one of those weird Dr. Seuss movies that studios just like leached off of to make weird adaptations because the stories weren't long enough to make into 1.5 hour feature films. So they had to put a bunch of random extra shit in it. And they did just goofy stuff. They put adult humor. They did this movie, and then they did like the Cat in the Hat, and then they did
Yeah, right.
and yeah, with Mike Myers.
Yeah,
And
wonderful.
I'll say this about this. Jim Carrey does a very good job, and he's very funny. That's the old. If without Jim Carrey, this movie would be one of the worst Christmas movies of all time. And like the theme is still there, but Jim Carrey is what makes it funny. Like I will always laugh at 5 o'clock, solve world hunger, tell no one. Like I will like that whole monologue where he's like, at 7 dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. Like I just will always.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So my
yeah, I got it 4 for that reason.
So my number 4, and I'm gonna die on this hill. Katie can hear me, right? And she hates this. All right. My number 4 is Elf. Now I will die on this hill. Elf is a good movie. It is top tier. Like, and I know, and I hate Will Ferrell. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I used to grow up thinking like, oh, Will Ferrell's a good actor. I was like, 4 and didn't have an opinion. So I love Will Ferrell in this movie. The only other thing that I can actually like reasonably watch him in is either Step Brothers or Talladega Nights for whatever reason. And so
Anchorman is his other one, but
yeah, and I actually found that funny because I actually liked Anchorman 2 more than I liked Anchorman 1. Somehow or some way, but and I didn't watch Anchorman for the longest time because I was bullied in high school. And when I was bullied, because I had a YouTube channel, so I was bullied, and people would be like Ron Burgundy, behind my back or whatever, and it was embarrassing as a 15 or 16-year-old.
Right.
So I didn't watch it for the longest time, and I sat down and I watched it, and I was like, wow, this is good shit. But yeah, Elf is a good movie. I will die on that hill, and anyone who says otherwise can kick rocks, except for Katie. So, except for her, she's entitled to that opinion.
So, my number 3 is Elf. I grew up watching this every Christmas. My mom loves it. My mom, my mom's a Minions mom. Her film opinions are not always the highest of tiers, but
Right.
like it's a Christmas movie. I don't need the peak of cinema. I just need something that makes me feel good, makes me laugh, and at the end ultimately tries to give me like a lesson in Christmas, right?
Right.
Like, that's the whole goal of a Christmas movie. Take place during Christmas, have a theme of Christmas and giving and Christmas spirit and being good to people. That's all you need for a Christmas movie. That's all you need. So yeah, at number 3, I had Elf for that same reason.
Perfect. At number.
Who's your number 3?
So my number 3, I marked it out. Okay, I'm sorry. I marked it out. I had It's a Wonderful Life in there. That is not my third favorite Christmas movie. You know what it is? It is what's the one called? I'm losing the title. The one with
Story?
Scrooge. Shit. I love the Muppets one, but either one is good.
Christmas Carol.
A Christmas Carol. Yes, it is so good. It is like just a Christmas.
Like
what's that?
Which Christmas? They've made different versions of it, but so I'm wondering which one. Is it because there's there's like a Disney or like a Disney one with like Donald Duck and all that.
Oh my god.
There's also like I think there's also some older live versions.
I feel like here's the thing, okay, and I'm gonna come off as someone who's really uncultured. I want to preface this actually. I've never seen A Christmas Story. Like, I've never seen it. It plays all the time, and I've never seen it. I am the worst at movies. Yeah, what? I have never seen A Christmas Story. I'm dead ass right now. I've never seen it.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Isn't it?
So
I also haven't seen the vacation movies, like the ones that everyone loves. Like, I've never seen those. I saw the remake that they did with Ed Helms. Okay, but I saw the remake that they did with Ed Helms, and I like that. But I did never seen the National Lampoons. So I want to preface that. Okay, so I've never seen A Christmas Story. But I've also so I also saw the original, like, A Christmas Carol, like a few maybe as a kid or something. I remember seeing it, but like I don't remember it that vividly. The one that I really like watching is the Muppets one. Like, it's a good story. Like, it's just it's just objectively good.
It's a good no, it is the quintessential story of.
So I feel like Christmas, me saying, right? Like the Muppets version is like is my top tier.
The one I remember most from when I was a kid was the Donald Duck Disney version with Mickey and all that. Like, but like there's been animated ones, there's been live action ones. Like, there's not really anyone tells the story, right? It's probably just whichever one you watched most when you were a kid.
Right.
So no, a Christmas Carol is a great one to have on there. I can't believe, like, I've always said I don't like the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I never thought they were good. They're not the worst. I just don't think they're like fantastic Christmas movies. Anyway, number 2. Speaking of, I Have a Christmas Story. It played every year. It's on. It would be on when we opened presents on the TV. Because TBS would play it literally 24/7. It's on TV all the time. I mean, it hits every beat you need for a Christmas story. And see what I did there? Christmas Story.
Yeah. Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah.
So no, but it hits every beat, and I think obviously the big issue with it is it was made a long time ago. And there is definitely some problematic elements. There's a scene. So, like, spoiler alert, but sorry, the movie's been out for forever. The end of the movie, they're making turkey for Christmas dinner, and some dogs eat the turkey. It makes sense if you watch it. And so they go out to a Chinese place because that's the only thing open on Christmas, naturally, and they get like duck, and but then there's some of the restaurant workers are singing to the main family, and they're very much Chinese, and they're doing, they're singing with like Chinese accents, and it's haha, that's funny Chinese accent, because they're singing fa la 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 la, but it's fa ra 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 ra.
Yikes.
Yeah, that scene didn't age fantastically, but it's still a good movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's very good, and I think it's one I've just always watched. Again, a lot of this has to do with nostalgia, right? Like, it was on every Christmas we watched it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, to that same point, real quick,
made me want to get a Red Ryder BB gun.
I watched a lot of The Office, right? Like, Office is one of my favorite sitcoms of all time.
Yeah, I would say these jokes aren't any worse than anything Michael Scott.
Well, and exactly, right? And they've on Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey on their podcast that they do, Office Ladies, where they rewatch every episode. They've actually talked about that too, where they've talked with writers on the show specifically about that, especially in early episodes when they've interviewed and had guests on, from people who were either on the show or writing the show, whatever. And they've talked with them about like that specifically, where like the best thing you can do in that moment is learn from, like, hey, let's not do that. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't great in the time, but like that was 10 years ago. And again, the best thing you could do is just say, like, we put that out. We might not be proud of it, but it is something that like we aren't going to do again. Like, we would never do that again, right? Like, The Office would not exist now, right? And I think that and the nostalgia is fine. Like, watching that show, like, there are parts of the show where it's like, yeah, this is not great, but like there's also like, that 70s show had a lot of like sexist themes, but again, it's a 70s thing, so cliches. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. So my number 2, is that where we're at? My number 2 is Home Alone. The first one. The first one is so good. Yeah. Like, I think that it is objectively better, and I like the second one. Like, don't get me wrong. The part where he goes and connects with the the store owner at that toy shop is really, I like that. It's really sweet. But at the same time,
but
like
this one, I mean,
I feel like it's forced.
These movies are the same,
They,
right?
they're very forced,
Because
right?
that's the same thing in the church. Yeah.
And the first one was very good because it was very like it was very unique. It was very like signature. Like it wasn't trying to be anything else, I don't think. And so I just feel like that one is they're just better. What's your number one?
Home Alone 2.
Perfect.
And the reason is, and so I've always liked the second one. I had watched the second one when I was like 7.
Right.
I stayed the night at my cousin's house when I was very young, 7, somewhere in that age. And they had Home Alone 2, and we watched that one as opposed to the first one. I don't know why. It just happened to be what we watched. And we watched it. That's the whole scene where they're going through the trap house, not like it was a literal house of traps. It was like we watched it, we rewound it, we couldn't stop fucking laughing. And I'll always have that memory watching it. And it's because of that I'm just like, it's the best one. And I didn't watch one until many years later when I was like a teenager, and it's good. Because it was pre 9/11, right? Goosey it was, as opposed to now. It's like that kid would not have gotten on that fucking plane. They would have checked for the ticket. Although now there just wouldn't be an electronic ticket or a paper ticket, be electronic. But no, but I appreciate that him getting lost. It's very contrived, but it's not so out of the realm of possibility that it kind of takes you out of the movie. It's like, oh, he got on the plane. He's a kid. He thinks he sees his dad go into one. He thinks, oh, that's where I gotta go. You don't know what an airport is when you're like, you don't know how to function in an airport when you're a kid. So you just follow your parent, right? Like, I didn't learn how to function in an airport until like this last year because I didn't fly a lot in high school, and the last time I had to fly a few times this year, and it was like, oh, this is how you like do airport stuff as an adult. So I did appreciate that, and like I said, I think it's very touching, and I don't know, it's fucking hilarious. I will always love Joe Pesci. So
Absolutely.
And Macaulay Culkin's a star for a reason. So yep, Home Alone 2.
Perfect. So my number one is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I just think it is, again, objectively good. I don't think that it matters. You could put the animated TV special at number one. I don't care. But it's good. It's a good story about a good person. Well, a guy who grows his heart, whatever. Again, like you mentioned though, the one, it's not like it's a good movie, but like you mentioned, it falls into that realm of just terrible movies that Dr. Seuss had made into books that made into movies, whatever. I want to tell you a story real quick about It's a Wonderful Life. Okay, did you know this? And I don't know if you know this, but I didn't know this until recently. But It's a Wonderful Life
Adam ruins everything to me, aren't you?
Oh my god, I'm about to. But here's the thing. Some people know this. Not from. But anyways, it's really interesting because It's a Wonderful Life did not do well when it was released in the 40s, and then it hit the public domain, and then TV cable companies started snatching it up because it was free. And so they could play it on run for as long as they wanted with no repercussions.
There is something to note about that because I looked into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it went in the public domain. It was actually it was more so due to a clerical error. They tried to copyright it.
Oh, did they really?
After the clerical error, they just didn't care.
Oh,
they were like, oh, okay. So it's like a half truth. They do still have to pay. They have to pay some royalties. The royalty they have to pay because it's based off a book.
Right,
So they have to
right,
pay royalties to the book owner, the book title, because that is under copyright. But they don't have to pay
right.
royalties to the movie. It's very cheap to pay a royalty just to the book owner, especially because the movie was not popular. Now they probably have to pay a little bit more, but
Right.
yeah,
That's
it is
interesting.
funny, and now it's a Christmas classic because it's all
Right.
about
Right. And well, because
your life.
the crazy part, I don't think is that about the like cable companies or whatever. Like obviously, like yeah, and that might be a little bit fabricated for the in being the interestingness of the story. But the interesting part is that it just didn't do well when it first released. Like people were like begging people to come see this movie, and you know,
Yeah.
but I was just watching
So
that episode of Adam Ruins Everything the other day. Griff.
can I tell you one
Yeah.
real quick before we take a
Yeah.
break? I
hmm
have a worst Christmas movie
Oh my
because
God,
I've
you're gonna.
never understood. I've never. I know it's the spirit of happiness, and
Yeah.
so I'm not going to shit heavily on the movie. I and I shouldn't say it's the worst. It is the one I like the least. That's an important one because it's very well done. I think I just don't like it. If that makes sense, it is the Polar Express. And I know people have wanted to straight up fight me when I've said this. I swear
Katie
to
would
God.
fight you. She
Like
would fight you.
people love the Polar Express, and I get it. It's beautiful. That animation is gorgeous considering how old it is too. Tom Hanks, fantastic. And the story's cool, but I always just felt so eh about it. Like it just
No,
never
I
stuck
totally get
with
it.
me when I was a kid. And so to me, it's just like it's so like I will watch, any of the movies we listed. I know, like I would probably watch the Polar Express over National Lampoon,
Interesting.
but National Lampoon is like I think the worst. This one's just one where it's like I think it's like the most overrated. Um, but that just that is my probably hottest Christmas take. But if you like it, that's cool. We can all have different opinions. That's
I'm.
okay. We can have different feelings on different things. Don't fucking come after my ass. I just won't watch it, and you can. Easy as and I'll go watch Home Alone 2 again. So,
Perfect. I
um,
that is, I think that is so funny. Sorry, I'm looking into
no. I was just saying next week we'll
yeah,
talk about some Christmas songs because boy, do I have some thoughts.
I'm sure.
Um,
Well, in because I work at Starbucks, right? So like the Christmas songs that they play at Starbucks like sort of pisses me off. And
they probably
it's
play like weird shit, don't they?
well, it's not bad. I think like, the interesting part really is like the interesting part like they don't play what's it called? Like all Christmas songs. Like they'll usually just take a break or whatever. Which
Right.
is which is fine. But they'll usually take a break and play some like Taylor Swift or something, which is good.
Yeah.
So anyway, Griff, you want to take a quick break real quick?
Yeah, and then we'll get back to sports.
Perfect.
We'll go from there.
Perfect. Let's do it. All right, Griff. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back. How
Yep.
are so
All right, back to
you want to get
sports,
into COVID
'cause,
actually with sports and
okay,
everything.
no, listen. You hear that and you go, "Oh, a pitchfork start coming out." You haven't even heard what I've said
Yeah.
yet. This is a COVID issue. The issue itself is not COVID. COVID is the cause of of this. What and I'm looking at the solution, right? So we've seen a massive outbreak of COVID in all of the major sports leagues, aside from the MLB, because obviously they're not playing, and they probably never will again. That's for another episode. The NHL is canceling games. The NBA is canceling games. The NFL hasn't canceled a game, but like there's a lot of fucking cases popping up. The Lions have had like 14 positive COVID cases over the last few weeks. The Browns, I think, had like 22 something players in the last 2 days test positive that aren't going to be able to play, including Jarvis Landry and Baker Mayfield. Jalen Ramsey, Odell Beckham Jr., all, have tested positive. Like, it's getting bad. And we're getting to a point now, and this is with a league with a 93% vaccination rate. Okay. Because breakthrough cases happen, especially in the close quarters of a training facility. And this is not me trying to say, the vaccine works or doesn't work. If you guys have listened to the show before, me and Brad, pro-vaccine. We think you should just get it. But at this point, I'm not screaming from the rooftops anymore about it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Adhere to the rules that are set out. Whatever. Great. So my thing, Brad, is what do we do now with this? Because I don't want to lose sports again.
No.
But it certainly seems like we might be getting to that point due to the fact, the NHL is postponing and canceling games. The NBA is postponing and canceling. The NFL hasn't done it yet, but man, teams are running out of players to the point where they can't suit up a full 52 men unless they pull some random dude off the street. So what is the solution? And I'm not smart enough to think of it, but I do think a solution is needed to at least tweak the policy. Because I don't think, the NBA and NHL maybe can shut down, but I don't think they will. Because they're going to want to make those. They want those games. The owners aren't going to let them cancel those games. They want the money. But I think like the NBA with like Christmas is coming up. The Christmas Day is aside from playoffs is like the biggest regular season day for the NBA because they have all the Christmas games. It's a big deal for them. And what happens if like 3 of the games get canceled because of COVID? Like,
right.
It's a disaster. And it's the same thing for the NFL. Like, it's December. Like, December football is where you play they always say, like, the one thing Lions fans have wanted forever is play meaningful games in December. What happens? Like, the Browns are right in the hunt for a playoff spot. Are they and now they're playing a game this week with half their starters out.
Right.
This Thursday, Chandler Jones, probably the best defensive player on the Chiefs, is not playing against a division rival in the Chargers who are trying to make a case for themselves as being one of the better teams in the AFC and trying to secure a wild card spot. It's a big difference. I've heard some ideas float around about if they're vaccinated, you just don't test them until they're symptomatic. And, the non-vaccinated policy, you got to test every day, sure. Keep that in place.
Because you think about like you and I, right? Yeah, I'm around people, and I have a job where I work with the public, right? And it's a weird because, like, first off, I don't get, I'm vaccinated, not boosted, but I'm vaccinated, and I get
boosted. Friday. Kick my ass.
I know. Well, we've been waiting for the semester to end, so we're probably gonna do it then, right? Because you have some time off. But and here's my thing too, and I'm gonna get into another point, but we don't get tested every day, right? Like you and I. Like I'm not gonna, whereas they are because it's more of a health risk. They're around people more often.
Well, and it's also the NFL is trying to prevent outbreaks.
Exactly. Well, exactly. You're trying to prevent something worse.
The solution is treat them like everyday people.
I understand not getting a booster shot until the end of the season. Like that sort of like if I were an athlete, I would not want to get vaccinated mid-season unless I'm on like a bye week or something.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just because of it's kind of an inconvenience, right?
You'd have to do it on like a Monday after
the
game.
Well, right, exactly. Well, and then at the same time, like you're losing training because now you got to take kind of a day off or a lighter day, I should say. I don't know how like athletes work, right? But you know what I'm saying? Like for you and I, it's an inconvenience. I feel like for an athlete that depends on their body, like that is going to be an inconvenience to them. Like that makes sense, right? Like that's why I think that's why you gotta hit the nail right in the head at the beginning of the season. Like before the season ends, before it starts, you gotta get right on it. And like, I don't know. It goes back to the MLB last season, and obviously like COVID, was kind of on a lower, and now we got all the these people won't get vaccinated, so now we got variants and shit like that coming out, right?
Yep.
With the MLB, that Joe Biden and the MLBPA and the MLB got together, and they were like, listen, Biden told him, like, if you postpone your season by a month, we can guarantee that every player in your league would be vaccinated by the first day,
to get vaccinated
by the beginning of the season. And the MLB said no. And I was
I don't understand, because you got to look at it from a business perspective.
Right.
Like, keep your players.
At the same time, though, the MLB
and don't cancel games.
And we thought that COVID, it ended up working out for him, because we thought that COVID was going to be worse than it was. Because at the time, like, you didn't know what, like, the 4-month outlook of this thing was. Like, you didn't know what was going to happen. You had no idea. And now it's starting to rise again. And I think that's where, like, this pressure looms, really, is, like, you're seeing, like, again, like, the Lions had a COVID and a flu outbreak at the same time. And I think that, like, a big part of it, too, is that we have become so tired of this thing, and so many people are not wearing masks. Like, I still go out to restaurants all the time, and I'm vaccinated, and I wear a mask. Like, that's just how I am. Until I sit down, I wear a mask. That's just, I don't know, it's not like an inconvenience for me to put a cloth over my face. And so, like, whereas some people, like, just are done with it, like, they haven't worn it since the beginning. And I think, like, it's just the lack of rules and the lack of, like, everything, as, like, I mean, and this is gonna sound terrible, and I'm gonna come off like an idiot for this or whatever. But I think that, like, if you go to a sporting event, if you go to a concert, if you go to a sporting event, if you go to wherever the hell you're going, I'm sorry, but you should be vaccinated. Because there's no way for venues to pull this, like, fancy dance between both being vaccinated and not being vaccinated and wearing a mask. Like, there's no way to enforce wearing a mask.
I'll say this, because I don't want to get, like I said, I'm not trying to go down the COVID rabbit hole.
I'm not trying to alienate people, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole either.
I just don't. Like, it's not. I care, but I also don't have the energy for it anymore. I've done enough arguing over it. I was like, I'm going to a concert tomorrow night, and they are requiring proof of vaccination or a negative test within the last 48 hours.
Where's that at?
So for me, it's really St. Andrews Hall in downtown Detroit.
Oh, really? Okay, that's okay. Cool.
I believe the Majestic Theater, which I think is owned by the same property company owner, whatever,
right,
also does the same thing. So just to. I know. I don't think a lot of stadiums are doing that. It also depends on where the stadium is and what state and blah blah blah. Different. But my point is, games are hurting in quality. Games are getting canceled. I think you just need to take a different approach on some of these things. Like the NHL has a 99.99% vaccination rate.
Yeah, with Tyler Bertuzzi being the only one that's not. Which is embarrassing.
Not going there. I'm not going there. But the point is, even with vaccination, there's going to be breakthrough cases. Especially they're in a stadium packed full of people with a roof. There's the COVID is just there, right? It's going to happen. And, these people go home to families. They're traveling, talking to media members. It's so not even the fans, because there's glass obviously all around them, but like they're interacting with a lot of different people who are interacting with a lot of different people who are interacting with a lot of different people. So it's going to happen. The vaccine is just, hey, you won't die from it and your symptoms will be much more reduced than they would have been. So it's like, right. What do we do? I mean, do we just not test players if they're vaccinated? And if you're asymptomatic, you never know, right? Or do you keep testing people daily or whatever? Like, I don't know what the solution is, but I do think these leagues need to figure something out. Because right now this spread is going to potentially cause some serious issues, especially like the NFL. We're getting close to playoffs,
Yeah, and those are going to be important games.
What happens if we get to, Chargers Chiefs, which could be a very realistic playoff match, and Patrick Mahomes get COVID?
On a less severe note, though, like real quick, what happens if Jonathan Taylor, if I'm in a championship game of my fantasy league and Jonathan Taylor goes out with COVID? Fuck him for that if that happens. Like, I will be damned if Jonathan Taylor makes me lose my fantasy game. That's what I'm concerned about. Doesn't Jonathan Taylor know that I got a fantasy match to win? Should have drafted him based on vaccination status.
The three teams I've drafted and the one team Brad has, all four made the playoffs, and we're all in a very interesting spot right now. It's a good time, but yeah, that's all. I just wanted to touch on that quickly because there is some big implications of this COVID thing. So, yeah, I mean, and there's probably a solution, but I don't think like I said, the thing I threw out. Don't test players unless they are symptomatic, at which point, test them and then quarantine them if they're positive. And other than that, you just kind of turn a blind eye. I mean, unvaccinated or vaccinated, people at my work are not getting vaccinated every single week. So,
right.
Or every single day. That's just how life is like right now. We've never did a full shutdown. We never did, like, as a nation, we never had a unified front against this. It was different states doing different things. So we're here. You can't change that now. So we're just going to, what's the solution for the here and now? So anyway, Brad, let's talk about just the NFL and football as a whole, because there's some interesting things this week. You want to start with Matthew Stafford, eh?
So, yeah, and I saw this question on ESPN, and I'm not saying the ESPN is, good content, but I wanted to bring this up. You know me and ESPN, but it's the only thing to watch, so it's like kind of hard, like if I want to get anyway. So Matthew Stafford, right? He spent so long with the Lions, and I loved it because and I sent you that thing on what's it called? CBS Sports, I think, posted it, where they were like, hey,
when the Lions got eliminated.
Yeah, they were like, the Lions are now mathematically ineligible to make the playoffs, and I'm like, well. Yeah, we knew that. I mean, now it's just now it's mathematical. Anyway, so anyway, yeah, they said that the Lions are now mathematically ineligible to make playoffs, and it was funny because like they got this graphic right of like Dan Campbell and maybe another player or something, and then in the background, like a small like 50 pixel by 50 pixel, they got Matthew Stafford like just with the Rams, and I'm like, well. Big,
and they also had Dan Orlovsky fucking in like.
Did they? Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was great. It was a very good
prime time trolling right there. So they asked this question on ESPN. What is the pressure on Matthew Stafford to like win a playoff game? He was at the Lions for so long, only had like number of chances, but like when the big moment was there, he didn't rise up.
It's all the pressure. If he doesn't win a playoff game this year,
I think this is his legacy.
Quite literally. Yeah, I mean, I know he's got years left, but he's got to. I mean, it's kind of Super Bowl or bust for the Rams, but it's also like, even if he could at least make the NFC Championship and put up a good game where maybe the defense fails him more than anything, he's at least won, because he's probably gonna be a wild card and probably is not getting a first round bye. Because the Packers are running away with that.
Well, yeah. Plus, he's got to contest with the own division, right?
Two playoff games. Yeah, it's a very good division.
Well, and there's going to be the Cardinals are better than we thought they were going to be. That's, I think, the biggest part of that. Like, if the Cardinals weren't in this conversation, I think that they have a much better chance of that.
People have been saying, Stafford, he beat the Bucks, which was, I think, a big win.
Right.
But then he kind of he faltered, right? He lost
that
usual
game to the mid-season
49ers. And it was very like, oh, there's December Stafford, right?
Right.
The narratives were creeping back. But he went out and he slang the ball Monday night against the Cardinals, and he played a very good game. The Cardinals made a few mistakes, sure, but like he capitalized them, and he didn't make mistakes.
Right.
He didn't throw a single interception in that game. It was probably his best game of the season. And dare I say, an MVP-like performance. I don't think he'll win it, but that's the games that you need to show up in, and he did. They are now one game behind the Cardinals in the AFC West. And now it's just a matter of, win, I think, one or two more, and they've locked up at least a playoff spot. And with how good that team is, that's all they need. I mean, you don't want to go against the 2 seed, but if you're the wild card, hope if you're lucky, you go against like the Cowboys. Oh, wouldn't that be something? Stafford, his one playoff game that he almost won was against the Cowboys back in 2011. What if that was when he?
Well, and the funny part is that Dak Prescott. The funny part is that Dak Prescott has a playoff win over Stafford.
Yep.
Like he's so, and I don't know. Like if you use playoff games to define someone's legacy, then Dak Prescott's on there. Because I mean, what has Stafford really done? Like what you know what I mean? Like 9 wins all for nothing.
And I know the stat Hadford thing, but like you don't put up that many numbers without being tough, having longevity, and having the talent to throw the ball downfield.
Right.
But no, he does have to win a playoff game to secure that legacy. 100%. I think he will. I think he'll win one this year. I don't know. I don't know if I'm rooting for him or not, because it's like the worse he does, the better the Lions pick is. I saw someone say, it's like, guys, this is Stafford working the magic. He looks good at the beginning, and then he just tanks the Rams season, improving the Lions pick, right? And after like the last 2, I think he's got like 2 seasons left, or 3 seasons. After that, he comes back to Detroit to be their QB and lead them to a Super Bowl after giving them draft capital. That's definitely not what's happening. He's never coming back here, but I thought it was funny. And that kind of leads me into my next point about like, there's not a definitive like best team in the NFL right now. The Packers are probably the closest, but there's not a team that I can go, that's your odds-on Super Bowl favorite, because the Packers have looked mortal several times this year. Not lately. They've definitely ratcheted it up. But like the Cardinals, very good. The Buccaneers, very good. The Rams, very good. The 49ers, all of a sudden looking a lot better than they did. Who's the other NFC North South? Oh, the Titans, probably going to have... Oh, no, that's AFC. What am I... Oh, I mean, you got the Steelers and the Ravens, or not the Steelers, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Browns. No, that's also AFC. What am I forgetting? NFC North... NFC South.
Bears. Oh, NFC East? Did you talk about the Cowboys?
Who's the NFC? Why am I forgetting the NFC South? Who's in the NFC South?
The Colts, the Titans.
The Titans are. Oh, okay. Why did I think Titans were?
Because they're in fucking Tennessee. Nobody considers Tennessee to be like South. Like, you know what I mean?
No. That's the AFC South. That is the AFC South.
So do we not know who's in the NFC South? The Tampa Bay
Buccaneers.
Is that who it is?
I had a brain fart. Yeah. So sorry, Tampa. You have
these aren't designed like very well. I just to be fair to you.
Yeah, the AFC South specifically. That one's all over the place.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's the Buccaneers. You have the Packers. You have the Cardinals. Those are like the 3 good, and even the Cowboys look good. Like those are your 4 division leaders, and then you get the Rams and the 49ers on top of that. Those are 6 teams that could all make a playoff run very easily. And then you have the AFC, which is a little more top heavy. The AFC is even more competitive. I mean, the NFC is a little more top heavy. You have the Patriots, you have the Bills, who are going to be a wild card team, Chiefs, Chargers, Ravens, Browns, and Bengals. All 3 have a chance to make the playoffs. And then you have the Titans, who are going to have Derrick Henry back. Like, do I think like the Ravens, Browns, or Bengals, or even the Titans are the best? No. But do I think they're easily can put up a fight against the number 1 seed? 100%. This feels like the most like there's a top half and a bottom half of the NFL this year. And there's a few teams in the middle, like the Saints and the Vikings and who am I forgetting? The Colts are kind of in that range. Bengals, like there is some mid-tier, but it really feels like it's like you're either really good, you're in a wild card hunt, and then there's like the 4 bad teams of the Lions, the Texans, the Jags, and the Jets. I guess the Giants are in there too. So it's like, man, it's a very interesting year this year, and I'm very much looking forward to December and January football because it's going to be a very fun playoffs this year. I've never been so excited for a playoff than I was this year.
No,
So,
that's exciting.
You want to show me a New York Jets clip?
I do. So yeah, specifically regarding and I covered the Mets for a while, and I deal with a lot of like New York football fans, and so you know the gist, right? Where like they had Sam Darnold. We talked about this at the beginning of the year. They had Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold was this quarterback who had kind of a whatever. Was touted like what was he, first round selection 2018. Jets had him for 2018, 19, 20, decided not to build around him, and then we're like, wow, we think he sucks, he's bad, right? So us not helping him means that he sucks, right? And at that point though, it had kind of become too late for them because they hadn't built around their quarterback, and now soon you got to pay him money. So they were like, we don't want to do that. So they got out and got another rookie QB, the equivalent of being cheap. So, like, it's kind of like, why even trying?
They just keep resetting the process.
Exactly, and they just keep...
I wanted Darnold to go to Carolina and tear it up.
And up. No, he looked good, but then he looked bad.
He reverted to Sam Darnold of old, and maybe that's who he is. I thought he could have been something special.
Yeah.
I thought getting out of New York would have helped him because I thought he had all the talent in the world. I thought he was going to be much better than he was, but hey, sometimes we're wrong.
And so
you're right. The Jets can't keep just redrafting quarterbacks.
And so now they got Zach Wilson, right? And I followed WFAN on which is New York's like biggest. They actually drove ESPN radio out of New York because they are so much more popular than them. It's the same reason why Detroit has that's why Detroit like doesn't have an ESPN radio, because 97.1 just has so much of the market. Same thing with WFAN. That's kind of the same situation. They broadcast the Yankees games, etc. Anyway, so I follow them on from Mets news. Now I saw this clip about Zach Wilson and the Jets, and I want to play 30 seconds of it real quick for you. This was the title of this was something build around Zach Wilson, but at what cost, or something like that, like develop Zach Wilson, but at what cost. And I'm gonna play this for you in just a moment. Okay.
He's uncomfortable. Okay. He's not really sure of what he's doing, and he's playing with people like Denzel Mims. Now Denzel Mims has had a hard time getting on the field, and there's reasons for that, because I don't know if it has the internal reasons, or he's late to meetings or whatever, I don't know. But if he keeps making the same mistakes or doesn't understand the concept of a particular play and can't be counted on him being in the right spot or reading a defense or doing a stupid thing like he did this past week twice, getting penalties, the coach is not going to find him on the field. And I was thinking that, there's no way Zach Wilson is saying to Denzel Mims in the huddle, hey, Denzel, remember on this play, you got to look out for this. Because Zach has got to worry about himself.
Sure.
So Denzel's growth then is kind of like hamstrung because he's not getting the support from an older quarterback that is trying to get the best out of him and communicating with him.
So there are a couple things that I was, because when I saw that, and again, like the title, I feel like kind of adds to it. Really is develop Zach Wilson, but at what cost? Like what? Like we went through this with Sam Darnold. Like have they not learned anything in New York that, like, again, like you mentioned, they can't just keep redrafting quarterbacks and think some button's gonna click. You look at the New England Patriots, right? And they got Mac Jones. And this is actually a conversation that I think ESPN or whoever was having, saying that is in hindsight, would Mac Jones have been like the top quarterback of last year's draft had we known what he would become? But the answer's still no. Like the answer is still no, because he doesn't have that high ceiling. Like what we knew about him is still the same. Like we have more answers now.
He would not be succeeding.
No.
He would not be succeeding on anywhere else.
No,
because he's
absolutely
in New England.
not.
He's under Belichick, who coaches in a very similar style to Saban, so he's very familiar with it already. And you have to remember that, like, and that's not to say that like, I genuinely think like if Wilson was on the Patriots, I don't think he would be like. I don't think Wilson would do as well as Jones, because Jones is a more pro style QB. He was the most pro ready of any of the quarterbacks. You know, that's why the rumors of the 49ers were going to take him at like 3. There was the rumors that was going to happen, and it didn't, which is fine. But no, I think Jones, like, he landed in the perfect situation for him, and the Patriots got the perfect quarterback for their situation. Like, he's going to win Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. But again, if he was on the Jets, like, he'd be struggling just as much, maybe if not more than Wilson. Maybe he'd be a little better, but I do think he benefits. He's insulated, and it's what the Lions are trying to do right now, and it's what a lot of teams fail to realize. It's why Tua. By the way, Tua's putting up great numbers in Miami, and with the worst offensive line in football, and no running game because Myles Gaskin doesn't show up on Sundays sometimes. But no, it's quite simply like you insulate your rookie quarterbacks. So the Lions, what they have built, they have 2 great tackles who can protect them off the edge, protect the blind spot, keep your quarterback clean. That's so important for young QBs. It's why Justin Fields is struggling. It's why Zach Wilson is struggling. And it's why Trevor Lawrence is struggling, although he has a lot of other issues in Jacksonville. But by insulating a rookie quarterback and giving them protection and lots of weapons, which by the time the Lions get a rookie quarterback, they're going to have DeAndre Swift, TJ Hawkinson, a Pro Bowl center, a Pro Bowl left tackle, and probably a Pro Bowl right tackle, because Penei Sewell is looking that good now. A decent guard in Jonah Jackson. Maybe you get another guy to replace Vaitai, because I don't think he's very good, but whatever. It's one piece. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown as a nice like wide receiver 3. I consider Hawkinson to be wide receiver 2. That's what he is. He's a receiving tight end. He is wide receiver 2. Because he should probably be getting the second most targets on that team. And then they probably are going to draft wide receiver 1 this year. It's a very loaded receiver class. Go and get that guy who's 6'5" and can just let you open up the field vertically. So what the Lions have there, putting a rookie QB in that situation, they're protected. The pressure is going to be less and less frequent and less intense. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift as a receiving option, TJ Hawkinson as a safety valve, and a big-bodied receiver who can just get open all over the field. That gives them lots of options to throw to. They're going to have lots of open reads. Like, all of these things lead to sustained success. And the Patriots, it's a little different because they don't necessarily have like that amazing Pro Bowl receiver or an amazing Pro Bowl running back, but they have lots of good pieces that they can move in and out that allow Mac Jones to stay insulated. The offensive line has been nothing short of fantastic for him. And the other thing is a great defense to complement, because it takes a lot of pressure off of a rookie quarterback. When the defense doesn't let them score a lot of points, then you're not asking your rookie quarterback to score 50. You only ask him to score 24, 27. Get us 27, the defense will do the rest. That's a lot easier to ask than being a shootout with Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I think a lot about Zach Wilson's
wrong.
I think a lot about Zach Wilson's situation too, because like and like you said, like a lot of these franchises just aren't doing it right. Like again, like you got Trevor Lawrence, and there's nothing wrong with taking him first because he's the first overall pick. But there's a lot of things that to consider, because like I mean, so for example, like not a lot of teams that draft in the top 5 QBs are usually in the playoffs or usually like successful, like perennially, you know, like it's not
like the 49ers.
Well, right. Well, exactly. Or like occasionally you might see that, or, you know, like it's not like these franchises are shitty all the time. Like the Lions, like they're not, they had number 3 pick like in 2019, and now they're drafting number 1 next year, most likely. And like, it's just so like, like it's an existential nightmare for these franchises. And when you have like teams like the Jets who like are like, oh, like why is our QB bad? Maybe that's because you're bad. Like that's just you suck. I just don't understand like the logic of every Jets fans like, oh, scapegoat our QB. We suck. Like QB's fault. Sorry.
Yeah, it's an organizational failure, and like you can't ask every quarter, especially a rookie, to be Aaron Rodgers and win despite the issues. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had 2 to 3 years to sit behind Brett Favre, and that's what I think. That's what I'm kind of like what I want the Lions. Here's the perfect timeline for like the Lions, and I'm using them as an example because I think they're the closest to kind of doing this right. And this isn't to say like. I get it. Like the Jags had to take Trevor Lawrence. He was the best quarterback coming out of college. You have to take him. The issue is keep him safe his first year, and then you got to O-line. You
know, the Lions were doing pretty well too with Stafford when they drafted him. Like it's not like the Lions like just threw him away. And there's it's a complex issue. But when Stafford was drafted in 2009, like he was good. Like he was not some fuddy-duddy. Like he was not missing on his mechanics like Zach Wilson is.
Issues, but
together. But and so like, you know, but again, like he was built for like the Lions built their offense around this guy. And, you know, and again, it's a kind of a complex issue because Zach Wilson is no Matthew Stafford. You know, like Matthew Stafford just slung it all around the field just because they started employing like air raid, dynamics. And, you know.
You had to sell out the pass a little bit.
Well, exactly. And so, you know, but you know, it's so... Like, it's just frustratingly annoying because they still don't get it, even though they just went through this with Sam Darnold.
That's kind of the thing with the Jets. It's like you probably were going to be bad this year,
right?
You could have taken Penei Sewell. You could have taken.
You could have done that, yeah.
Any number of guys, and like there's nothing coming in the draft this year, but you'll probably be bad next year too. And you can take a quarterback in 2023, which, you know, but New York, you can't wait that long, especially when you have a rookie head coach. You need results sooner, with Robert Saleh. But it's like what the Lions are doing. It could be perfect if they do it right. You got the offensive line. It's there for him. It's there for the rookie when he gets here. You're building up the receiving core, I assume, after this draft. You're going to have a wide receiver one. You have your tight end. You're going to have a great running back combination with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. And you're probably going to get a big-bodied receiver, and you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you have some nice complementary pieces with Quintez Cephas and Khalif Raymond. Like, you know, they're not world beaters, but they're complementary, right? They're an Alan Lazard. They can be an Alan Lazard or a Christian Kirk. So... And then, you know, this year, they're probably going to draft defense. They're going to get wide receiver and defense. And then in 2023, hopefully, they're drafting a rookie QB. They have the draft capital to move up if necessary. And then you play Goff for the first, you know, half of that season. And then you bench him inevitably and you put the rookie in. Or maybe you bench him the whole season. You know, you kind of play it out from there. You know, you don't want to put him in too soon and get him hurt. And then after that 2023 season, Goff, you can cut him with no negative cap hit, and you start the rookie. Like it's a perfect timeline, and that's what it's like. Yeah, it's not how every team has to do it because every team rebuilds differently. But teams that have been perpetually in the basement need to do something different. The Lions finally are. They're building the trenches first, and then getting their big position. And the Jets are just trying to, you know, definition of insanity, try the same thing over and over again. So we'll see how it works out. I do feel bad for Zach Wilson, and hopefully the Jets do enough this offseason to get him some fucking help. And, you know, hopefully Robert Saleh can work some magic. So we will see.
Griff, do you want to get into who you got? We got some great bowl games coming up, and I am very excited for them. signing day was today. You know that? Signing day was today. Spartans got a 5-star kicker.
Here's my thing about signing day. I don't care what you did in high school. I will see what happens when you do something on a college football field. It's great. Don't get me wrong. There's some merit to it, but I just don't think it's that. And also, I don't know.
I don't follow it. Like I follow baseball minor leagues more than I follow signing day.
That fucking cornerback that got paid by Barstool Sports to basically go to Jackson State and play for Coach Brian.
A dude in the FCS school. I love it.
It's awesome.
That's great.
Here's the thing. I think it's a long play. You know what I think? Well, he got the money. He got like $1.5 million to go there. Which, good for him. Get your money, kid. I don't care. But you're not going to get drafted if you're there. Or at least not as well. You're not playing against top talent, and you're not going to develop as much as you would like.
No, and I think that's kind of the thing, too.
You're not going to develop as good as someone in an FBS, especially Florida State.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like
you know what I think the long play is? I think he told that kid, hey, listen, come to Jackson State. We'll hang out for a year. If you come to Jackson State, because I think Florida State's going to fire their head coach. And Deion Sanders went to Florida State. It's his alma mater. He stole his alma mater's #1.
Oh, and then what are you going to say? Dude transfers out to FSU after this year?
No, I think Deion Sanders gets hired at FSU, and he transfers with him.
Oh my god!
And they both go to FSU.
That's so funny. That would be
fucking
hilarious.
What a long haul! What a long con! Awesome. Sure. Anyway, Lending Tree Bowl, Brad. Eastern Michigan versus Liberty.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
Liberty. No chance. Eastern on this game. No chance.
Give me the EMU.
No, you are screwing yourself. Oh my god. No, not a chance.
All day, every day. Here's why. My sister goes to the school. I love their stadium, and TJ Lang, former Lion.
So no merit on the game, on who's playing.
You think I've watched
talent.
That Liberty football game this year?
Yeah, but you don't gotta know a lot about them.
Here's the other thing. I want Liberty to get stomped because I'm tired of people talking about Malik Willis and him being an NFL caliber quarterback, and that the Lions should draft him in like the second round. If the Lions draft Malik Willis with the 33rd pick in the NFL draft, I will burn. That would be hilarious. Live on the show.
Literally so funny.
I hate Malik Willis. I'm sure he's a fine man. I just hate the talk around Malik Willis, and I want him to get folded in half in this game. So, Eastern Michigan, go Emus.
So, I'm going to kind of take that same sort of route that you got with this next one. This is the one I added, all right? I had to talk about Rocky Lombardi, all right? Now, Rocky Lombardi, the comeback man. And listen to this. I highly recommend. Can I share my screen? I'm not going to do that. That's too much time. But, so there's this article in The Athletic that came out by, I believe it was Colton Pouncey. Now, I could be wrong. I don't think so. So it's titled How Rocky Lombardi went to, I forget, whatever. So from him, his journey from Michigan State to Northern Illinois. It's in The Athletic. It's by Colton Pouncey. Great article you should read. But very interesting too about how when he transferred, like what his life was like, and now like what his thought process was. Like very, very, very interesting, in-depth stuff. But it's great. It's a great story because again, like, it wasn't very good at Michigan State, like didn't do very well. Dude has some leadership qualities though, is an absolute, like what do you call him? Like game manager, kind of stuff. But, it's good enough to lead a team to a MAC championship because Northern Illinois was like winless in the MAC the year before, and now they're MAC champions, which is insane to me. They're probably going to get beat by Coastal Carolina, but I don't care because I'm taking them. And I'm just on for the story. I would love to see Rocky Lombardi win a bowl game. That's all.
I just got to know they just keep winning games. Their coach is kind of a cool comeback story as well. So I'll root for the. I'll root for the.
Their offensive coordinator deserves a lot of. I don't know the dude's name, and people can correct me if I'm wrong or for what it is. But their offensive coordinators put together a great season. So.
No, they've been very good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. The Independence Bowl.
Yeah.
UAB versus Brigham Young, BYU, baby. Who you got?
Yeah, I got to go with BYU. BYU should be good enough to be in the Pac-12. Like, they should just expand.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
Yep.
BYU plays 5 Pac-12 teams a year. They should just be in the Pac-12.
You know who went to BYU?
What's that?
You know who went to BYU?
Who?
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, exactly. But BYU is a good team. They were 5-0 against the Pac-12. You know who had a worse Pac-12 record? USC.
Yeah.
So
not for long.
And they're not even in.
Long.
Yeah,
not
right.
For long.
The LA Bowl, Utah State, Oregon State. Who you got?
Give me Oregon State. I can't tell you a lot about Utah State, but I do think Oregon State looks like a much better team. I've watched a few of their games, and I'm just gonna go out on a limb and assume they can beat Utah State. We're kind of skimping for college games here, guys.
And that's the thing, right? Like
how many of you are watching Utah
and this
State
is
on Saturday?
This is my argument for, just in general. This is my argument for an expanded playoff. Like, this is why. Like, I want an expanded playoff, so I see less of these games. Like, I don't want. I mean, I know it's early bowl season, so
would still happen.
Well, they would. I just have more exciting games to like the MAC still happens, and I get to see Toledo put up 600 yards and lose a game. So, and pretty much every week they do that. So, so yeah, Oregon State, I got to take them. I mean, like, again, like this is a Midwest conference versus like bottom tier Pac-12. So,
all right. On to the actual games that are decent and
the NFL.
NFL. I named the games this week.
So I love that for you.
All right,
Thank
we got
you.
Thursday night football. Chiefs at Chargers. I think this is gonna be a shootout. This is gonna be a fantastic game. I think. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs because I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. I just can't. And I love Justin Herbert, but dude let me down last week. I mean, he got 19 points, but I needed him to score 40. So, you know.
I thought he scored like 30. He scored like 20.
It was like 22 or was it? I can't remember. Either way, it was not enough. It wasn't 50, so it didn't help me.
50 points for my quarterback. Oh God. Anyway, I got the Chargers.
That's shit I was in.
Here's the big reason. Chiefs do not have Chris Jones. That is a huge difference maker on that defense. Their secondary is not the best. I think Justin Herbert's going to have a fucking day. I think the Chargers defense is better than the Chiefs defense. And I think the two offenses are fairly evenly matched in terms of just pure firepower. Both have good running backs. Both have great wide receivers. Chiefs have the best tight end in the NFL, sure, but like they have two great wide receivers on that team and a great running back in Austin Eckler. I think the Chargers are going to do enough to eke this out. But what I'm rooting for is the over. I would like both teams to score like 50 here for fantasy purposes, because that means Justin Herbert probably scored like 40 and Mike Williams got like 20, which that would be awesome. So that's what I'm rooting for. So yeah, I got Chargers. All right. This is Brad. We're moving out first weekend with some Saturday night football. 2 games. I picked the one that I thought was the better of the two. We got Raiders at Browns. Although this one might not be very good now because the Browns are dead from COVID, it seems. So, who you got?
I got the Raiders. Again, like you mentioned, the COVID issues. And, I mean, Raiders are an inconsistent team, but I'm just I'm going to take them. That's yeah.
I'm going against Nick Chubb in fantasy. I want the Browns to get shut out if possible. And honestly, with how many people they're missing, they might not score much. So, I'm going to pick the Raiders. Like you said, very inconsistent team. But right now, the Browns, like, one has an NFL team, the other one has a practice squad. Like, I got to pick that one. Give me the Raiders. All right. We have my favorite matchup of this week. Huge implications for the Lions pick this year, their first round pick. The Tank Bowl. Texans at Jaguars. what could be Urban Meyer's last game as an NFL head coach.
Okay, yeah. So if Urban Meyer should have been
This
fired
is the
already.
Game among games.
But if Urban Meyer is not fired after this game, if he loses, I swear to God, that's going to be the end of my. I don't know.
Jaguars are poverty.
I don't understand. So yeah, Texans. If you are betting money on the Jaguars right now, like I guess if it's one of those things, right? Like if anyone tells you 1 in a million, you bet on it, because there's gonna be a point where it happens. But the Jaguars are just not that team. Like if they were 1 in a million, I would not take that bet. Like they should be paying me to bet on the Jaguars. That's how poverty they are.
This is called Tank Bowl for a reason. It's the greatest game of the year so far, no doubt. I'm looking forward to this more than anything. Give me the Texans. I want to see Urban Meyer shot out of a cannon because of all the years he tortured me at Ohio State. I just shoot him out of a cannon. See you later. Bye, Urban. All right, this is probably the game of the week. This, aside from the Thursday night game, that's probably the best game. This was the best game I could find on Sunday. We got the Packers at the Ravens. Huge implications in both conferences, playoff divisions. Packers are fighting for that first round bye. Ravens are fighting to at least be a higher seed and win their division. Brad, who you got?
Packers, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt. And I hate Aaron Rodgers. I hate that he did what he did to the Bears. Can't stand him.
Fuck the Bears. Fuck the Packers.
I mean, that's true.
But no, I'm going to pick Ravens. Here's the thing. Packers, undoubtedly the better team, better defense, probably have a better offense, more high. But the Ravens are weird.
Yeah.
Every game, they're different.
Some
games they come out and they look fucking putrid. In other games they come out and they look like the hottest team in the NFL. Like they're going to win it all. They're like, they're going to the Super Bowl. And, Lamar Jackson's back this week after being injured with a sprained ankle. I think he's going to bounce back and come out. I just have a weird feeling. I would never bet money on this because it's not a good, but it's just an intuition thing. I just feel like this is all feel. This is not like, if I'm looking at the facts, the Packers should win this game. But any given Sunday in the NFL, I'm going to take the Ravens. Cautiously optimistic.
To your point, and it's not a bad pick. To your point, Ravens are 5-1 at home. Like they seem to thrive in Baltimore. So you could get something going for you. Whereas the Packers 4-3 on the road. So being at a home game that might help you.
Yep. So, all right. Do we want to? Well, I guess we kind of already touched on fantasy.
We got 8 minutes. You want to discuss it?
Really all I want to say is just, we're all in the playoffs. Justin Herbert obviously helped you, me, and my fiance's team, my wife's team. Sorry, gotta get used to that. He was a very, very good quarterback this year. I've had George Kittle, who's been a monster for me these last few weeks. And, despite having so many of my running backs injured between DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, Alvin Kamara, I've done enough to win. And, I'm the 4th seed. But the person I'm going against, he is the number 2 seed. He's the number 1 seed. I've beaten him. We faced 2 times already this season, beaten him both times. So I got to beat him a 3rd time now. I kind of like my odds. I did lose DeAndre Hopkins. I picked him up because someone dropped him because he was hurt. I picked him up while he was still hurt and stashed him. He helped me these last 2 weeks. Fortunately, won't be able to help me this week when they're going against a bad Detroit team, which kind of sucks. But it's going to be okay. Still got DJ Moore. We're going to roll with it. Let's try and win this thing. Let's get to the championship. Fun fact, it could be me against my mom in the championship if we both win our first round games.
That's funny.
Which would be awesome, because here's the thing. If I go against my mom in the championship, I won't be mad if I lose, because my mom's gotten hoed in fantasy. She has been the highest and second highest scoring in the 2 years we've had this league, this iteration of it. She has been the highest and second highest scorer and made the playoffs 0 of those 2 years. This year, she's the highest scorer yet again. This year, she actually made it in as a 3 seed, as the highest scorer. She was like the number 1 seed, but she lost 2 games right at the end after she clinched. Not that she was trying to win them, but she unfortunately didn't. But it is cool because because it would be awesome for us to face each other. Because again, I don't think either one of us would be mad at if we lost, right? Because at least we know, hey, it's my family member winning it. So, yeah.
So
that's where I'm at.
So I'm kind of
break yours down.
I'm like low key, and I know you said you'd be pissed, but like, listen to this. So this is some shit. So I joined Logan. We had him on, which was a failed episode, sorta. But we had him on, and I joined his fantasy league, right? And Logan is he writes for what's it called? He's on a podcast about the Browns for Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
And with Brandon Little, right, who is also in this league, which is kind of fun. So Brandon I lost to him last week, which is bullshit because I had the third highest points in the league with 157 or something like that, and I lost because he scored 210. So, and I had kind of I didn't actually have a down week. The only issue was that Jonathan Taylor was on a bye, which, fuck him for that. So, but the issue was if I was able to win and I was able to finish because I think there was one guy who was 8-5, who if he won and became 9-5, he'd have the same record as me if I lost. And I think our head to head was that I had lost to him. And so because of that, he would have gotten a bye week because points. 6 players, or is it total points? Because I think whoever it was, like I had a chance to be the third seed instead of the second seed.
Rules. Everyone does it different.
But
I think that the default is
anyway. So all of a sudden, the playoff bracket goes from 6 teams to 8 teams. So there's no bye week anymore. So all of a sudden, I'm out here at the second seed, and I got to play next week. So that was like low key, kind of something that I did not anticipate to happen.
I'm glad mine only does 4. Like, let me just do this 2 more weeks and be done. Especially
and
because we don't want to play in week 17.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Because I would have no problem with that. And again, like there was, because it was on a bye week, or whatever. And I would have no problem with that. The only problem is it doesn't really reward you for winning. Like there's no reward for the regular season. Like, isn't that kind of stupid? Like if it's either give the top 2 teams a bye week or just make it 4 teams. Because there's no there's no reward for winning your games. What am I doing this for? So if I lose next week, I would go 9-5, have the best record in the league, and then lose the first round. Like that's a possibility. Like that sucks, right?
Yep.
And I don't know. Again, like it's not like I'm paying for this, so like that's why I guess I can't be too upset. But it's just stupid. Anyway,
I agree.
And so I don't know. I guess I'm not fantasy manager, so I can't speak. I can't attest to that. Griff, how was your experience on our little show today?
I liked it. I thought this will be nice. Again, we're going to try and do some live recordings, so people can tune in live on Wednesday nights when we do this. And I think this will be a lot easier for us to have guests on the show, which we'll be doing a little bit more often, or trying to do more often. Depending on who we can get on, who wants to come talk to us. So
right.
I think first show like this. Success. I would say success.
Cool. I know there's a little I'm trying to produce it, right? So I could take that away. I can add our names if I want to. I can do this
behind the scenes, people.
I can do that. Oh, look at that. There's a lot of sound effects.
ML. Oh we're like a fucking radio show with drops. We got to get some drops.
I know, we can get some more.
Can we get? I want to get the from when we had technical difficulties. The Bill O'Reilly clip. Fucking thing sucks.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody.
Yeah,
we'll see you next week for our pre-holiday special. Whatever. We'll probably talk a little bit more about some holiday stuff, and Yeah, probably whatever the hell happens this weekend with football, and hopefully Urban Meyer is fired. So, thank you all very much for tuning in. We will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Make your free throws.